Ready? KTM guys.
All right, guys. Last time I was up here, I talked about this guy. And at the end of this speech, I left you guys with a thought, hopefully you remember it, which was that everybody should go out and try to find their own quest for their Triforce. That's what I'm going to talk about. Because there's way too many people who think they don't have the wisdom, the power, and the courage to do what they want to do. I look around this room and I see people who are very opinionated, who have passions for things, be it discrimination, bullying, things like that. But maybe they don't know how to go about doing something about it. So I'm going to show a couple of examples of people who have done things to change the world for better or for evil, and how every person has the capacity to find this Triforce. The first guy I'm going to start with is actually the guy who thought up the Triforce, as our esteemed colleague Junior told us at the beginning of the semester, Shigeru Miyamoto. When this guy started out, Nintendo was nothing. They were a card company. They made playing cards, which, right, it's completely irrelevant to everything else they do. But this guy got it. He created these characters, which made the company. He took a huge gamble from nothing. You know, he saw the opportunity and he went for it. You know how much courage that takes? It takes a lot to be able to see a thing and know what you have to do and to put yourself on the line. If these had failed, the company would have folded. He'd be some homeless guy living on the streets of Tokyo right now. Probably. The video game industry would have crumbled and been nothing without this guy leading Nintendo. That's kind of a big thing, because video games, as some of you have noted, are a huge, huge thing in the world right now. Another guy who also found his quest is Danny Trejo. This guy is a really good actor. He's one of my favorites. When he started out, he was a hood. He was a street thug in LA. He was arrested like 3 times. And that's why he got into acting. He wanted to show the younger generation, hey, you got to do good things, so this is what's going to happen to you. And I think it's worked. I mean, he always plays the same roles. He's always violent, over the top, except for in Spy Kids. But he's good at it, you know. I mean, he's played good guys and bad guys. He's really versatile. And again, that's an act of courage. He could have just given up in prison, but he didn't. He saw a need, and he filled it. The next two I'm going to talk about, one of them is really good, one of them isn't. Martin Luther King Jr. and Adolf Hitler. Both of them changed the world, and they did it in ways that they thought were best. Yeah, even Hitler. If you look at it from his point of view, what he was doing, he thought was in the greater good for his country. It wasn't, because he was crazy. But in his mind, he was right. Same with Martin Luther King and the equality. They saw what they needed to do. They acquired power through wisdom, and they had the courage to do what needed to be done. Some of the speeches I've heard in here, like Johanna and the gender side, or Taylor and the bullying, those are things that would absolutely change the world if you knew how to go about fixing them. You might have the wisdom to say, hey, this is wrong and needs to change, but you might not have the power to do it. For example, myself, up until recently I was homeless and living in a car, and I've been doing that for like 5 years. That makes it hard to want to do anything. You know, it's hard to have a job, it's hard to make friends, it's hard to influence things when you're sleeping in a car. Because as soon as somebody knows that, they stop caring. But I had the wisdom to see that I needed to change my personal reality. I had the courage to follow that. Now I'm in college. I'm living in a place. Things are looking up. And everybody can do that. I mean, I look around the room and I see there are some desks that are empty that weren't at the beginning of the year. Maybe they thought they didn't have the power to do what needed to be done. Maybe they didn't have the courage and they got scared. That's fine, as long as you always come back to it. Power can mean many things. It can be charisma, it could be money, it could just be having the wherewithal to do what you know is right. The wisdom comes into play when you try to decide how to go about doing it. You know, wisdom can be many things. It could be general knowledge, it could be more specific. Cole is another good example, in that it's kind of common knowledge, I think, that he wants to go into marine biology. And he has the wisdom at his age, which I'm not picking on you, I'm sorry, to know that the ecosystems in the world are a delicate balance. And these things need to be taken care of, or else we're all in trouble. I mean, sea turtles, who cares? But if they die and the plants die because their predators are over anything, it's terrible. We don't have any fish sticks anymore. It'd be terrible. I mean, I wouldn't care, but some people might. It's the same, as I mentioned earlier, Johanna and her gender side issue, which is a huge thing. Because, like, personal opinions aside, if you run out of girls, you run out of population. Because, you know, that you need them. So that's kind of a problem in and of itself, regardless of the societal citizenship issues, like as far as life goes. That's a problem. The countries that practice this simply don't seem to have the wisdom to know that if they kill all the girls, they're screwed. Like they're done, they're over. But people need to have the courage to show them why it's wrong. And need to have the power to influence them. And that's easy to do. Just give a speech. It's that easy. Same with Taylor and the bullying. Same basic issue, same basic principle. But a lot of people don't do anything because they think there's nothing they can do, they think nobody will listen to them, or they're afraid they'll be the new target, which ties in perfectly with the wisdom, the knowledge, and the courage. So that's kind of the thing I want to leave you guys with, is this. It sums it up perfectly. You need to have the courage to seek the wisdom that will grant you the power. You have those three things, everything's going to fall into place. So no matter what you're looking at, no matter what you're facing, you need to have the wisdom to know the right course of action. You need to have the power to attain it, no matter what that is. And you have to have the courage to follow it. And find the Triforce. Accept your quest. And go for it.
Questions, comments for Wyant?
Woo!
Great motivational speaker.
Right. Tony Robbins up here.
I got one. They got a place for you in the Senate office.
What?
There's a place for you in the Senate office.
Is there? Yeah, I thought about it, but I didn't.